Me. Hey, Damon, dude. Happy Monday, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kurt. Ready to go.
Oh my God. How was your weekend, man?
It was awesome.
Please tell me you rested up for this one. Did you rest up for this
one? I did. I was to bed extra early last night.
Get your 8 hours in?
Yep.
Okay, that boy. All right, because I won't speak for you. I desperately need my beauty sleep, but man, when we've got our dear friend, the one, the only, multiple repeat offender, Kris Harrington, CEO from GenAlpha. Kris, how are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm always better when I know that I am on the show with the both of you. So I made sure to get my sleep too. So I'm ready to go as well.
Okay. Well, we have a ton to unpack, ton to cover. Now, Kris, you've been on many times. We kick off that opening question about who was your hero. And you gave one of the best answers of all time. And let me see if I saw this correct. We had Grandma Milwaukee and we had Grandma up north. Do I have that correct?
That's right. Milwaukee Grandma and up north Grandma.
That's right.
You got it. They were my heroes. Yes.
Big shout outs there. And I think Damon, if I recall correctly, we dove into like Coach K was in your from Duke and like all sorts of things. So, fierce athlete that you are. And, I have a couple of things I want to dive into. Let's talk athletics for 1 second. Okay. How has athletics, I know like you and I were talking about Caitlin Clark the other day, just, blowing up the whole NBA world. I think the Olympics might be on the horizon. I think, Damon, aren't they coming up this summer? Kris, are they coming up this summer?
They are coming up this summer, and I'll be there.
And Kris is going to be there, Damon. So Kris is going to be at the Olympics for a little birthday celebration. But Kris, just share a little bit, athlete throughout your career. And I want to dive into like your leadership, being a CEO of a tech company. How has athletics, that inspiration, competitiveness, camaraderie, how's that helped you through your career?
Gosh, I definitely think it has built the character that I have today. There were so many great coaches that I experienced in my life that, really built me, not just built a player, but built an individual that I take so many of the things that I learned. And I'm talking about the fundamental things because I played basketball, I played soccer, I ran cross country. I played a little bit of softball. I never played fast pitch, but I appreciate the game so much. And I think, just the repetitive practice. What I've learned in life is that practice is so vital, and for those that don't practice, they often aren't winning or setting themselves up to be in the best position to win, both in life and professionally and in their personal life as well. So the practice, the ability to fail, and have to run down the court and, keep fighting for that next opportunity to take your shot again and get yourself in position. And, I think that athletics teach you quickly and often that it's okay to make mistakes. You're going to have to try. You're going to have to work hard to be stronger, faster, smarter than your opponent. And so you keep trying and there's strategy that goes with that there. And you have to keep working hard and putting yourself in position. So practice, failure, the sportsmanship aspect of having a team and working alongside people and truly believing that you're better than, better together than singularly as an individual. So much of that comes out of the team sports that I was a part of. And I carry all of that into my work with me. I turned 50 this year. That's why I'm going to the Olympics. It's my 50, my gift to myself. My spouse and I will be attending, and it's going to be so much fun. But I really did. I took that, all those concepts that I learned in my early athletics and had these coaches around me who were instructing me and being able to take instruction and take feedback. Think about all of that, how important that is as we get out into the world and we have experiences. I don't know. I read a book once that taught you to fail early and fail often and fail forward. Maybe you guys have read that one as well. And I'll tell you what, I think it's true. And sports are a great way to instill that in you early and then take the practice of it into life.
All right. First drop the mic moment right there, David. Man, came out swinging. She came out swinging. So, all right, a couple things I want to unpack. Putting in the reps, right? Having the ability to get knocked down. Get knocked down on your tail and just and pick back up. Sports is a great way. Nothing better than being bottom of the sixth inning, 2 outs, and you walk up to the plate and you strike out. You go down swinging. You're slumping back to the bench, or you miss the free throw, or whatever it might be. If you've been in sports, man, we've all been there, and it's just such a character builder, Kris. And I love what you're talking about, the teamwork and all the above. That's exactly, man. That's exactly what I wanted to hit that with you today. So let's slide here with this athletic career that you've had. You're CEO of a booming, wonderful, incredible tech company. The admiration, respect that Damon and I have for what you guys have, what you've accomplished and what you continue to accomplish with helping manufacturers, just off the charts. Share a little bit for, Damon and I are both girl dads, proud girl dads, for young women out there. Just share, and I know you're super modest, super humble, but just share a little bit about, leadership for women in technology, and what do you feel is really helped advance your career?
Yeah, well, I think that I probably wouldn't have known how to say this even 20 years ago, but you have to continue to work on yourself. No matter what you do, whether you're a woman in tech, or you want to be a CEO, or you just want to be the best you can be at your work. It starts with understanding who you are and working on yourself first. And then if you can truly commit to being the best you, and really understanding even your own your strengths. I went through a program in the past called Strengths Finders. And so I think there's a Strengths Finder 2.0 today. And, those types of programs that help you start to uncover who you are and lean in more to who you are and begin to leverage your strengths. Maybe not so much focus on your weaknesses. We all have weaknesses, but what are you good at, and what do you enjoy doing? Because if you can start to understand that first, you're always going to have to work hard, whether you want to be in technology, you want to be a CEO, again, you want to be a leader. Work is there. You're going to have to work hard. But I would say work in a smart way where you're volunteering for work where your strengths are and the things that you enjoy, because then likely you're going to have to work hard for it, but you're going to be successful because you've chosen to volunteer for the things that are your strengths. And what happens is people will start to see you excelling in that area, and naturally you're going to be given more opportunities for that area. So you have to do the work, understand who you are, understand what your strengths are, and volunteer. Keep volunteering, which means you're probably going to have to get uncomfortable. And I would coach you that you've got to get uncomfortable, because we never get stretched or even uncover our full potential until we are, doing the things that are uncomfortable for us. And they might even be that they're part of our strengths, but maybe we're not comfortable speaking in a group, or we're not comfortable taking the lead, or we're not comfortable because we haven't tried this aspect of what somebody's looking for. Go try it, go do it. The best opportunities came for me when I didn't even think of myself necessarily for that, or I thought that might be interesting for me, and I just raised my hand without thinking too much about the consequences and said, I do want this. I'm just going to raise my hand and put my name in that hat and see if I get selected. And those were really the biggest growth opportunities. Took me to 3 countries, right? I joined the Navy when I was young, so I was a machinist mate. I didn't know what the hell I was selecting when I did that. But now look at me selling parts and equipment and helping others do the same. That's those things, they just built on my life over time. And you just start taking all these experiences and recognize that they become your strengths too over time. And you got to lean into that. So I don't know if I answered your question really clearly, because I'm still a work in progress and I'm still learning, these things as well. But those are the things that have worked for me. And they're a lot of what I coach others as well.
Wow. That's all I'm saying. It's funny you say that. About 10, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have been talking about personal development. Myself as well. We were not taught that 20 years ago, how important that continual personal development is to keep moving through the leadership chain to be able to do what we're doing. And then you said something else too about strengths. We used to talk about strengths and weaknesses, and we talk about, you got to work on your weaknesses, right? And over time, I've just begun to really go, okay, I'm going to mitigate my weaknesses, but that's about all the time I'm getting. Just make sure it's not like a huge anchor dragging behind. Like you said, volunteer towards your strengths, lean into those strengths and keep moving forward. And that's awesome. You just went right through the master class in about a minute.
Yeah. Kris, I mean, you definitely answered that. This is all right. I'm like speechless myself, Damon. This like I'm ready to run through a wall. And this is why Kris is just such an amazing leader. So Kris, a couple of things unpack. First off, I try to do it every show. Thank you for your service to our country. We applaud you, salute you. Just, you're a warrior, and just, carry that level of integrity, just the honesty, the dedication, the persistence, like you said, with sports or whatever it is in life, putting in the reps. Damon, I'm going to say one thing. I you know what? I won't speak for you guys. I probably was told over and over to work on myself, but you know what? When you're in your 20s and 30s, I wasn't there to listen, so, but that's a whole nother topic. Kris, let's go here. All right. So we're going to dive into GenAlpha, the solutions that you offer, how you're making the world a better place. I want to go there in 1 second. Before we go there, again, this is just such a gift for Damon, myself, folks listening. We've got a CEO of a tech company, and you're the co-founder. When you had a wonderful, illustrious, military and corporate career. Please share it. I know you've done it before, but I love hearing the story. Just when you took that entrepreneurial leap. Was it scary, exciting when you guys decided collectively, like, yes, we're going all in on GenAlpha? Can you take us back to that time?
Yeah. I would say when you're doing it with a group of people, certainly it's easier, especially if it's a group of people that you've come through the trenches with, you've worked hard with, you fully trust them. I had the privilege of being a part of that experience, right? We all worked in manufacturing together. And, we sold parts and equipment in the mining industry. And it's not every day that you can say that you're finding there's a unique new way to do business, right? For so many years, it was the same way. You show up to trade shows, you have the right, you hire the right people to pick up the phone and answer customers' questions, and you have good email skills, and you try to be proactive, right? But I mean, we used to document every quotation we gave to customers over the phone so that we could at least know our hit rate. So we would see if those quotes that we gave over the phone would turn into orders. But, e-commerce was just coming into the scene. And when we saw the opportunity that e-commerce had for manufacturers like ourselves to ease the process of doing business with us, we were hard to do business with. In the 15 years that I worked with this mining organization, manufacturer of mining equipment, we had 3 major acquisitions. So folding those companies into our business, having a seamless strategy to our customers from multiple locations, out of multiple ERP systems, people speaking multiple languages, and trying to sell and service globally was not easy, right? And we saw the first opportunity to really understand that we could help our customers have an easier process of doing business with us is when somebody came in and showed us that they could take a 3D bill of material and explode it so that people could identify the right parts for their specific serial number. And we thought, whoa, this is awesome. And then our company happened to get acquired, a very large acquisition. So, the company we were working for, and we were no longer allowed the opportunity inside that organization to go down the e-commerce path, because they had that set for a different part of the company to take the lead on that. So, we all rolled into this new company. We were learning our jobs and understanding how we could best fold our organization into this new large company. So there was a lot to learn and a lot to do. But as partners and friends in this industry, we kept going back to the vision that we had for manufacturers and easing the process of doing business with them. And we thought, hey, if we develop this e-commerce site to make it easier, do we think we could help other manufacturers? And we all agreed that we could. So we went off and we built it. And we continued working while we were building it on the side. And we actually never came into the organization. We didn't hire one person to work full time until we had our first customer. And we got our first customer in the plastic injection molding business. They made molding equipment, and we essentially, I left. I was the first full-time paid employee for GenAlpha. I left. And at that point, now we had a solution, we had a customer. So it became less scary. In the beginning, it was just exciting. Let's take this vision. Let's see what we can do with it. We all agreed. But when it came time for me to say, I'm going to leave this job with its benefits and all of the opportunities, and I'm at that time in my career where I'm just going to keep going up to be the first paid employee over here. That was a little scary, but I also really believed in what we were doing. And it became easier when you had the first customer. So, you have a lot of those companies that will teach you to bootstrap, right? Bootstrap until you're ready to leave. We were doing that. So, that's about the very beginning of GenAlpha. And it really, from there, now we're owned by private equity. We have great partners that we work with, and the story is so much further today. But right in the beginning, we were just believing in a dream. We believed we could do something different and better, and it would serve the customers we were going after, other manufacturers. We've lived in their shoes before, so we understood it very well, and we wanted to bring that dream to life.
Well, Damon, I don't know if this reminds you. So, Kris, we had a phenomenal, fascinating conversation with a guest a year and a half ago. It really kind of changed. It was a game changer for me. And the gentleman talked about he studied different businesses and different societies on why some, kind of a little bit like the good to great, but he studied societies. And it was like, hundreds. He's a researcher. And he talked about, the one thing that separated why somebody would leave their country, go to another country, not knowing what was the cause that they believed in. He called it the saga. Mm-hmm. And what you just shared, what I just absolutely love, like you guys believed in yourself, you believed in the cause. And, look, you took an idea and converted it into this wonderful tech company that's part of private equity, and you're sharing the saga. And again, you're leading the charge. So inspiring, just so wonderful. Let's go, Damon. Did you Don Schmicky, right? You know exactly.
Yeah. I knew what you're talking about. Yeah.
Did that resonate with you?
Oh yeah.
So, Kris, let's go here. For folks joining us, we're here with Kris Harrington from GenAlpha Technologies. Kris, you got a great podcast, by the way. The broadcast. If you got to connect with Kris.
Get out there and listen to that.
For partners, have you seen the new pictures with these guys? I like you and Aaron and Lori.
Yes.
Oh my God!
We're having a blast. Yeah.
Just warms my heart. So check out Kris on LinkedIn. You want to connect with her. You want to follow GenAlpha, follow what they have going on. Check out her podcast. It's called The Broadcast. Kris, let's go here. For folks that are not familiar with GenAlpha Technologies, how do you and your amazing team, how do you guys make the world a better place?
Well, we are making it really easy for equipment manufacturers and parts sellers and distributors to sell and service their products online. In this age of technology where we're all walking around with our phones at our fingertips, right? Really, commerce is done 24/7, 365. And that's what customers are expecting today. So we're enabling manufacturers and distributors to give their customers really what they're looking for.
Nice. Okay, so let's dive in. You and I we're kindred spirits on whether you like it or not. We're kindred spirits on multiple things, but there's a little term, we're e-commerce evangelists, e-commerce junkies, but we also love this term digital self-serve. Mm-hmm. And earlier you're describing like that friction, those challenges. You even said it yourself, like we weren't easy to do business with. Yeah. So for our manufacturing friends out there, if hopefully this is resonating with them, or like, you know what, we're not so easy to do business with either.
Yep.
Describe a little bit like that frictionless or that digital self-serve experience. What are we trying to accomplish for folks here?
Yeah. And, I think we're all three kind of in that B2B space. So a lot of what we're talking about is the friction in a B2B setting when somebody is trying to do business with you. And often I like to make the distinction of B2B because it's much more complex. Right? It's a complex selling process when you're selling to businesses. And when people that are buying from you are buying in a business role, right? So they're not there to browse. They have a job to do. And buying your products or services is part of that job that they're doing. And they really, you said the word friction, right? They are expecting a frictionless process, something that's easy and convenient, but also accurate and without delay. So we have a responsibility in the B2B space where we're serving customers to not just allow them to browse and find things, but really to find the exact thing that they need exactly when they need it. And a big part of what we do is help companies do that. So, for example, what we do for equipment manufacturers is we allow them to convert their bills of materials and really repurpose their engineering 2D, 3D drawings and that complete bill of materials to allow customers or dealers or partners, whoever might be servicing that equipment, to quickly search by a serial number, a model number, a VIN number, whatever is the unique identifier to get to that exact piece of equipment that they're working on and go into that bill of material, maybe access those exploded diagrams so that the manufacturer doesn't necessarily need to have, an image of every SKU. But what they do have is that image that comes from their parts manual, right? That exploded diagram where maybe 50 products for an assembly are on that exploded diagram. And it still gives the customer a visual of, yep, this is the thing that's broken. Maybe it's my pump or my gear case. And here's all the parts, the bearings, the seals, the other items that are needed, and very quickly identify what they need, get all of their price, right? So most in a B2B setting, your B2B customer wants to make sure that when they're looking at price, they're not looking at a list price or there's a doubt about the price. They want the price that they've negotiated with you, that contract pricing or that earned level of pricing discount. So they want to be able to access their price. They want to see product availability. This is how we're making it easy, right? They don't have to pick up the phone. They can see if it's in stock or if it's 10 days away or whatever it might be. And I often say product availability sells more than price. So It's really important for you to have product availability there. And then when they go to check out, they also want to check out and purchase on their terms, right? So again, if they've negotiated 30-day, 40-day net terms or 60-day terms with you, that's what they want to be able to purchase on. So in a B2B space, these are the opportunities that we're giving that end customer so that they never had to pick up the phone to search for that product or to get their price or their availability or confirm the product availability and get their terms so they can quickly check out. And then post-purchase, what we're really talking about is the ability for them to come back in, check the status, get any tracking information. If down the line, they actually have to get some warranty, file a warranty claim or some other aspect of owning that, that product. They can file their warranty claim there. They can initiate a return request. So, these things can all happen digitally without lots of phone calls and conversations. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about self-service. For so many years, as manufacturers and distributors, we worked with clients. So they've been buying from us over and over and over again. And the data of those sales are all in our ERP systems or our dealer management systems. That information resides there. And oftentimes what your customer wants is just the ability to reorder or requote something they've purchased from you in the past. That just sits in your system. So if you can make that available through a secure login where they can access that information and they can reorder or requote without having to contact you, that's part of this self-service. That's what they're looking for. The convenience, the buyer wants to do it at their level of convenience quickly and easily. Most buyers in a B2B setting, they have requisitions all day long that they have to fill. And they might have sheets of it. I used to sit next to buyers when I was a product manager, and you'd go into their office and they had stacks of paper and they'd have a ruler and they'd go down and they'd have to place their orders for all the things that they had to buy, right? And the companies that were the easiest to do business, if they could not have to send an email and write the requisition or make the phone call, they would prefer to just take care of it and then be done. Check that one off. And then when they want to check the availability, when it comes back up, has this shipped yet? Oh, they just go onto your website, check, has it shipped? When is it coming? So they can alert other people in the business. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about self-service.
Right. Just all of the transparency. And Kris, I'd love to dispel a myth here. And I think we've talked about this before in the show. Is it true people don't want to talk about the price of the O-ring? Is that I've heard a rumor, Damon? Have you heard that rumor before?
I've heard that rumor before.
It's true. It is true. They, yes, we used to, and still occasionally we will get the complaint. Oh, my customers, they want to have a relationship with me. They want to talk to me. They want me to bring them the donuts. Right. Right. And that's why I say they don't want to have a relationship with you when they just need to know the price of that O-ring, or is that O-ring available, right? They want relationship with you, yes, but they want you to be available and easy in a digital way and in a convenient way as well.
That hands down, Damon, out of every show we've done, that may be my all-time favorite line. It's definitely in the top 3. Is Kris, when you we were closing out the show and I said, Kris, any last parting shots, words of wisdom? And you just dropped the mic on a wonderful line of like, they don't want to have a relationship with you on the price of the O-ring or shipping information. When there's a high level engineering, what do you recommend? It's like going to the restaurant, you go to the restaurant and like, hey, what do I want? I've never met you before. You have no idea what I like, but do I want this or this? Like, when you go to that expert, that's what you're kind of, I want, should I do this or this? But it's just that those basic everyday things, we don't need to have that relationship over those, right?
That's right.
And you said it too, Kris. It's like, if I'm a buyer in a larger organization, I want to go down that list and get those things on the way. And I want to be able to know the status of them quickly. Now, on the other hand, if I'm an end user of one of these pieces of a very expensive piece of equipment, I might be, it might be who knows what time I work, because we're around the world doing what we're doing. Right. If I can get online and my account is all set up with my corporation, I'm authorized to purchase, I can go in there. I can go, oh, yep, I need 2 of those, 3 of that, and it's on its way how I want it. Mm-hmm. They're on to the next thing. Because otherwise I'm a high level technician that has to write that down. Remember that could be I got to give it to somebody else because I don't even work the same hours that the office is open where I'm actually ordering this stuff from. Right. Or I have to remember that they're not open now, but they're open at the end of when I start working, or, there's so much logistical junk that you got to deal with, and how GenAlpha eliminates that, or a vast majority of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're covering all the points. That's right.
Yeah. The other thing is what I love about your solution is that I can put my serial number in, and you know what that piece of equipment is, because I cannot tell you how many times in history running places where CNC machining, injection molding, sheet metal fabrication, all kinds of things where you got this $250,000 to $1 million piece of equipment sitting there, and you're trying to get service on it, and you get the wrong stuff because these aren't all the same. There's little options that are all over here, and being able to go down to your piece of equipment is so critical, because $1 million, $2 million, $5 million piece of equipment, you don't want that sitting down very long.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just so much stuff that you guys cover. It's cool. It's cool.
Well, thank you. And you bring up a good point, right? They do not want that piece of machinery sitting. The reason they bought that machinery from you was to get it, to keep it productive, to keep it operational. And that's why we, as leaders in our organizations, we have the requirement to make sure that our customers can easily access the information for the products that they purchased from us. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, Kris, and I hate to put you on the spot. And are you comfortable? Do you want to pull anything up? Do we have a little show and tell opportunity? Could you give us do you have a little quick demo handy that you could pop in? If you go to a little present button, and what sometimes works best if you grab a tab. And I would love to take a look at what we're talking about here.
All right, let's share the screen. And then.
And Damon, we've gone through multiple GenAlpha demos.
I know. It's so cool.
We're like two kids on Saturday morning cartoons back when.
Man. Right? Like I said, I'm a horrible technician. And you stick me in front of a schematic or hydraulic diagram, and someone tells me what's wrong, and then you go, wait, this doesn't look like what's on that machine, or something. It's just like, oh my goodness.
All right, can you see my screen?
We sure can. Yep.
All right. Yeah. So what we're showing here is really the landing page, and so often the search bar is the most important, area of every digital storefront, because this is often where people will just start searching for the things that are top of mind, especially in B2B, right? So this is where we were talking about how they could actually start typing a serial number. And you'll see as I start typing a serial number, it's searching across the database to pull up an exact piece of equipment. And you're seeing right from this search area that I can, now that I've found the piece of equipment, now I'm inside this bill of materials. And what's great here is we like to think about it as the safest place to find all information related to the piece of equipment you're working on. So not only can you get into each assembly, and this is the as-built bill of materials as it left the factory. So you've got the complete bill, but you can also load any type of video. So any videos that would be associated with the equipment could be here. So that could be disassembly, reassembly instructions, which are important on the how-to front. And then also documentation. So let's say that they're looking for some wiring schematics, they're looking for the operator's manual or some warranty documents. You can access, again, right from your smartphone, all of the information pertaining to this particular unit. And you will see that this garbage truck actually has a complete VIN, but I just searched by the serial number, and that was the unique identifier. So if I go back here, and let's just go into this debris pickup area, and I'll go down into, let's find one here. We'll do the hand hose extension rack. So you can just kind of see these call outs. And as I click on these call outs, and we just call them hotspots here, you're seeing that we're pulling up different products. If there happens to be an image, and in this case, we use some of the 3D images as the image for the specific component, but already I have a lot of information that securely helps me feel good that I'm in the right spot. So if I was looking for components for this hand hose extension rack, I'd have the list of components here. I've got a good visual. I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can move this around and look for the different components. But as I click on those different components, I can also click on the shopping cart. And this is where I'm going to access, is there any in stock? What's my price? And I can add it to my cart. So all very simple. And then I can continue shopping. And this is great for, often many websites have the ability to search, and you can search by individual part numbers, but then you have to associate other parts to that part if you want to help them find all of the products, or you have to create a kit, and then you have to make sure that that kit comes up. In this case, the user can see all of the different components that they may need in this job. So right here visually, they could add the additional components that they might need. Any questions from you guys while I'm in here?
No, this is fantastic, Kris. And I have one question, and if we want to park it, the one question I'd love to ask is, so for a manufacturer out there that this is really resonating, or like, man, but how do I get from, I have a website from 2010, and where you're at, you're kind of at the Ferrari. How, like, any advice for the folks of like, crawl, walk, run, or like phases of like, how do you get from, Damon and I do LinkedIn webinars, and, Damon has an enormous amount of connections. So if somebody's just starting out, it's hard to see, like, well, I'm not going to catch up to Damon. So then they get overwhelmed, and then they, any suggestions on like how to get that crawl, walk, run? Does that question come up for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And, certainly what I just demonstrated on the tech pub side of things is more advanced than some people even need, depending on the organization. But really what it comes down to in the crawl, walk, run is, I would say, integrating your back end system to a front end system that makes it easy for customers. So our ERP systems, our dealer management systems weren't meant to be customer facing, right? But most often they do hold all the information for our business. It's where we run our inventory. It's where we store our pricing. It's where we have our shipping information. It's where we would collect credit card. If we were going to allow somebody to order by a credit card, it holds all of that information. So I do think in an initial crawl, integrating to your backend system just to provide the data that exists there can be a very easy first step, because all of that data exists and you work on that data all of the time. And most e-commerce providers that you're going to work with can integrate easily to your system, and then they are simply exposing the data that you have in your system. And again, in the B2B world, the reason that this becomes convenient to your customers who are already doing business with you, they just might be doing it through phone, email, fax, or messages, right? Now, when they come to your website, they can come with a login. They can access information related to the parts or the products that they've purchased from you in the past. So they get all of that information right there. So they can easily see what they've purchased before. In a good e-commerce site, you can push lists to them. So let's say they own specific products, so these are the consumables that they're going to need over time. You can actually push that information to them so that they would go right there and be able to order. And most often, if they already have a relationship with you, and I'm not saying that content isn't important, but in that B2B relationship, they might not have an image today when they're buying from you. So having an image when you're crawling, it might not be necessary as long as they know they've purchased that one from you in the past and it belongs to the equipment that they own. So by making some of that fitment and other things, which typically, again, already exist in your ERP system, just exposing that to your customer to self-service, the ones who want to do it, they're going to take advantage. And it will take work off of your customer support teams and start to free up people so that you can start, that crawl, walk, run. Now you can take some of the insights of what your customers are doing. You can apply it. You can use the 80-20 rule, the 20% of products that are making 80% of your business. Now you can start building out better product descriptions. You can start adding images. You can start adding your SEO if you're deciding to make your site open to the public, right? So you can start doing some of those things after you've already gone live in a crawl phase. Really enabling your existing customers to do business with you through self-service is the easiest crawl. At that point, you're not even trying to build necessarily. You're just trying to make it easy for your existing customers and then iteratively build from there.
Yeah, and the name of this episode was, we're just describing how e-commerce can just really fast forward that customer loyalty, and you really just kind of summarize that in a wonderful masterclass. I don't want to cut you short on the demo. Was there anything else that you want to show? Any other wow factors that you wanted to show for folks?
Yeah, well, let's go back here because I think personalization is a big one, especially with existing customers, right? So if I share my screen again, let's do this.
Yeah, if you're a technician and it's a complex piece of equipment, just having your piece of equipment or pieces of equipment, they're so huge.
Yes.
If you've got 30, 40, 50, 100 of these things running around, you want to know I'm getting the right stuff for the right one.
Yeah. And, that's such a great point, Damon, because when we talk about crawl too, I really love the idea of in a crawl phase, just open it up to your existing either partners, if you have dealers or distributors, or open it up to your existing customers. Let's please them first. They're already doing business with you. So if you link them to their account through an e-commerce shop, now when they log in, that's where they'll get access to their price and all of their previous information. So if we really start to look at the personalization that you can provide, this is what you were just talking about, Damon. So I'm logged in. If I own all of this equipment, I easily have access. I don't have to go search. I don't even have to remember the VIN or the serial number. I can just quickly see these are the products that I own and go into the bills of materials. So they can be mapped to the specific equipment owners or operators or technicians that would be working on the equipment. Same with that order history. So we talked about, again, integrating to the ERP system so that customers can access previous quotes, previous orders, invoices, right? And these are some of the most common areas your customer support team is getting questions. When are my products going to ship? Can you requote me or reorder? Can I reorder things that I've purchased in the past? Can I get a copy of my invoice? Right here in this order history, you can go back. You might turn your e-commerce site on today, but you can load 3-5 years of data in here so that customers have access to it. Right here on the status on the screen, I can see that these orders have all been completed. So I could go into that particular order. Inside this order, you can see it was for one line item. It shipped on 5/11, so May 11th. Since it was just one item, it has a single invoice, so there weren't multiple shipments or invoices. I can download a copy of an invoice. On the shipment, I get all of my tracking information. I can download the packing list. I can download the order if it's valuable and I want to send it through an email to somebody else on my team. I can also reorder it. And what's really nice about reorder is that when you reorder, what it does is it moves product to the shopping cart and it refreshes with today's price and today's availability. It makes it really easy for your customers to see if it's available and they can order. And then here's all the information that was originally on that order. So again, any question they had, it's all here. Things like favorites, right? So customers can come in here, they can favorite things. So if they've been on your site and they've looked at different products and they're looking for their favorites. Right now, what it's doing is it's calling the ERP system and it's pulling up price and availability. So my price and the product availability for all the favorites on my list. So it's always continually, it's an easy way to find things that I've searched for and favorited in the past. Often this is used for consumables or things you might want to buy in the future. But it refreshes with that current price and availability every time they do it. Things like auto reorders. How often would your customers reorder from you, especially on those consumable parts, if you made it easy for them to manage their reorders? Again, they never have to call you. They don't have to email you. They can just log in. They can skip or cancel their orders at any time, but this is where they would manage all of that. And then I talked about lists earlier and how organizations can push lists to their customers. Well, this is a great place for your logged in user to create some of their own lists. So if let's say they're planning a maintenance shutdown in the future and they're starting to gather the parts and components they're going to need for that shutdown, they can start to build a list and then convert that list into an order later. But also, let's say that you come up or you have a customer actually who buys a new piece of equipment from you. You map them to that piece of equipment. You can push them a parts list for that equipment. 1 year, the parts they need in 1 year, the parts they need in 3 years, the parts they need in 5 years, so that they can start thinking about their future requirements, but easily access that information. So there's so many ways to make a site personalized for your customers that it's a really great way to just crawl into e-commerce. Start giving your customers that ability to self-service, and they'll be happier for it.
So much.
You're just speaking our love language here, Kris.
Yeah.
That is just,
No doubt.
there's so many things to unpack right there. And I know we're running out of time, probably ran out of time, but we've got the CEO of a big company here, Damon. We can't be keeping her all day. The loyalty that you create for your customer. Just think of the time savings that you have. I don't know. We've all been there. We're like, hey, customer ABC, they're a big customer. They want some records or information from 15 months ago, and now I'll be back in half an hour because I have to go find it, or I've got to be digging it through my, here it is, a click of a button, and not only do you not have to do it, your customer can do it on their own. It's just, the wealth of time savings, efficiency, that frictionless experience, and then, you know what? I don't quite get this. Now I can pick up the phone. Now I can send an email, go to chat, whatever it might look like.
That's
but
right.
You're saving the company such an enormous amount of money. Damon, what are your thoughts?
No, I've always enjoyed the solution just because of the frustrations I know I've seen in industry over so many years, and how it can all the way, like you said, it doesn't matter if I'm selling direct to my end user, I'm selling through a distribution channel, or both. It simplifies the process. You've talked before about it makes it better for your customer service people too, because you can have all that documentation. When a call comes in, you can make your customer service people really smart too on the other side of it by saying, what are you working on? You're working on this piece of equipment, and they can bring up internal technical stuff that really helps them to answer more questions as well. There's just so much good about this. It's just awesome what you guys are doing.
Yeah. And Kris, I will say this: if you can crawl with e-commerce, but man, if you're a manufacturer out there, if you're not doing this, I would be sprinting to that a solution of this type. And again, reach out to Kris Harrington here, CEO of GenAlpha. She is just a fierce advocate for U.S. manufacturing, and just her mission, her cause, her saga is to help manufacturers. And I just and I'm sorry to say this, and I feel, Damon, you and I feel so strongly about this. If you are not offering this in some way or form, you are seriously you're almost intentionally putting yourself at a deficit. And I'm so sorry to say it like that. I'm trying to be as polite as possible.
Yeah.
Kris, you have a more polite way to put
it? No, I think if you want to thrive in the future, you have to take the steps in this direction.
Right.
And, we would never open a storefront and not, look at our storefront and make sure that was easy for our customers, welcoming and giving our customers all the options when they came into the store. In today's world where people are walking into storefronts less and they want to have these digital options, you have to think about all of the places you can sell your products, and online and your own environment is just one of the many options available today. Yeah. And, I think if I were to answer today why I think more people aren't doing it, because I do think that they're coming to realize that they do need to be doing it. Mm-hmm. They're not doing it yet because they don't know how.
They don't know how. Right.
It's just not the way, we did business. And I appreciate that, right? It's just not the way we've done business in the past. Right. So they don't know how. They don't have the expertise on their team. So, it takes either hiring the expertise or finding good advisors and partners who can help you bring these tools to life. And that's why all of us are here, right? Is we've created these tools and our own companies to help people be successful in this area. And, there are a lot of vendors out there who do genuinely care and are going to help you be successful. We're just one of them, but it's time to learn, because if you're not doing this, you're going to fall behind quickly. It's a lot harder to catch up. Right. Once if you don't take the move into technology, it's going to be a lot harder to catch up and compete with those who are already doing it and starting to leverage as things change, and their ability to respond is so much faster than the traditional ways we did business in the past.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kris. And just, for a long time, e-commerce guy, late 90s, when business to consumer was just the wave, right? And, I what's going on in the B2B world right now, I like to say, like, party like it's 1999, man, because what's going on in the B2B space is exactly what was happening in the consumer space from my experience in 1999. And it is just starting right now. You are not too late. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel behind. We had this wonderful fun demo. If you miss it, hit the replay button. Go back and watch it step by step with Kris. Call Kris and the team. Get on a demo with her. But I'm telling you right now, like, the party's just starting right now in the B2B space. It's right here. And what a great, incredible gift and opportunity to get leaps ahead of your competition. And in the name of this program, Building Customer Loyalty with E-commerce. And Kris just demonstrated exactly how that's going to happen. Kris, we'll wind down on this. All three of us are fierce advocates for education. Education. We talk about let's out teach the competition. Kris, you and I have a wonderful program coming up with our friend Jessica and Nicole Donnelly. Jessica from BigCommerce and Nicole Donnelly from DMG Digital at manufacturing.net. So if you're catching this before June 5th, you can catch us on manufacturing.net. We're going to do a deep dive on the future of B2B e-commerce. And then, Kris, down in the fall, we're going to do a little gig together at Purdue University. We're going to geek out on more B2B strategies. But on your website, you and Kevin and the team do a great job with blogs, information, content. Yeah. Just share a little bit of just some of the education pieces that you guys offer at GenAlpha.
Yeah, absolutely. What I would say, the fastest way to catch what we're doing is to sign up for our newsletter. And it's designed to all be educational. So when we have shows like this, what we'll do is we'll put it into our newsletter. So if you happen to miss it, you'll catch it in our newsletter and be able to go back and watch it. But yes, we create blogs. We write industry articles. So if we're writing for an industry, whether it be B2B digital commerce, or if it's for the distribution market or for manufacturing, we put a lot of that content out there. And then also if we have some speaking engagements where we get an opportunity to speak in front of a group, we'll put some of that those speaking materials out there for for people to access to. So we want you to be educated. We think it's really important that you have access to this information and can keep learning. So.
Awesome. All right, Kris, I have one last question for you. And again, Damon and I, we could chat with you for hours, and but we know you've got businesses to save out there. My question for you is best business advice that you've ever received, whether pre-entrepreneurial journey, post. What do you feel like really helped you that carries with you? You're smiling. What do you got?
I'm going to go with, because I've had some good zingers that I have remembered over the years, but I'll go with this one today because I'm just feeling it. But don't take less than 3 no's. I think that was really important really early in my career when, this is so true today, right? So I'm a Gen Xer. When I was coming up in the industry, I was one of the young guns on the team. I'm not so young anymore, right, compared to everybody else. But you always want to be trying different things, and you have different ideas, and you come up against the usual, oh, we've tried that before, that doesn't work, or don't take less than 3 no's. If you believe it's the right thing to do, keep trying it. Try a different angle, keep working it. Don't take the first no. The first no is too easy. I would agree with all of this in sales too. The first no is probably just an easy no. The second no, you have to work harder for, but often you'll get to yeses before you get to your third no, because your conviction alone will start to allow people to look at it in a different way and say, hey, she really wants this, or he really wants this and believes in it, and by golly, you might just be able to get a chance to go do it. And that's when things really change. So don't take fewer than 3 no's. That was a good lesson for me.
That's awesome.
Damon, where was that one 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, really.
All right. Well, we will wrap up. Damon, takeaways, thoughts. What stuck out for you today?
Yeah, I just love to see the evolution of what you guys are doing at GenAlpha and how you're helping these OEMs get the information in the hands of the people that need it, to get the pieces, the components, the knowledge they need to keep their equipment running day in and day out, because they spend so much money on it. It's cost them a lot when it's not running, and it's awesome how you guys make it easy and frictionless, as you said.
Thank you. Thank you,
Absolutely. David. So, Kris, thank you. God bless you. We appreciate you. Happy birthday this year. Big birthday. We wish you a wonderful trip to the Olympics. And so we appreciate you, your friendship. Damon, everybody out there, how about a big round of applause for Kris Harrington, CEO of GenAlpha Technologies. Connect with Kris on LinkedIn, follow the broadcast, and you'll thank us later. So, Kris, hang out with us for 1 second. Thank you for taking the time to join us. It's always a gift. It's a pleasure. And guys, Damon, what do we love to say? Just go out and be someone's inspiration, just like Kris was, man. And you'll make the world a better place. So, guys, have a great rest of your week. We have another incredible guest on Friday. We'll be back coming at you. And so, hey, and Alan drops a comment here, taking 3 no's advice and storing it in the memory bank. So, Alan,
there you go.
Join us. Happy Monday. So, all right, guys, we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Damon.